Dave Brewers again. Now, I've had a couple of pieces that have come in. I've been very busy with 2 days of the blades. I haven't had a chance up until now to review them, and I wanted to rectify that. Now, as usual for size comparison, you need something. So to begin with, this is a Benchmade Bearish. Lovely knife, beautiful steel. I think I've mentioned it before in one of the other videos. Absolutely excellent. Blade length of 9.14 centimetres, total length of 21.21 centimetres. Excellent bit of kit. This, on the other hand, is a motherfucking montante. This is 5'10". 5'10". Quite nice. I'm going to give you a little bit more detail about it. Let's have a look at the fixtures and fittings. Now, before we do, I have to tell you, Marco is a really good mate of mine. And this is important. I do tell you this because I want to be impartial in the review. I like his rapiers. As you can see, I have a lot of them. I use them in my school. Very, very happy with them. But I want to be impartial and very critical about this piece. So, this is based on a piece in the Wallace, and I'll give you the information about that piece in a minute. It's 200 grams heavier than the piece in the Wallace collection. And the reason is because it's blunt. And if you go down the end here, you notice I don't slice my finger as I'm doing that, it has a nice rebated tip on it. So it's very, very blunt. It's going to be heavier. It's as simple as that. If you don't expect that to happen when you get a sword made, you're dumb. Okay, so do expect it, it will happen. Now, here, the first thing I did notice is, if you look at the lugs here, there is more metal on one side, on this curve here, than there is on this side. Okay, and I don't know if you can see that, but there is a slight discrepancy on that. The fullers, tiny bit longer on one side than the other, but not noticeably unless you look really, really, really up close. The guard is lovely and solidly anchored, and yeah, very pleasing. The engraving here is consistent and neat. This is very, very nice. Solid as anything. Okay. Now, do bear in mind also that Marco always puts, unless you specifically ask him, a tightening nut on the end so that you can take swords apart if you need to replace one part of them. You can do so. You may not like it. If you don't like it, ask for him to do it a different way. But it is a noticeable difference to the one in the museum. Okay. The big thing that Marco drew my attention to when he turned up was that he'd had an issue with the leatherwork, and he was very, very upfront about this. So here you'll see there's quite an obvious line on the leather, and that is fine. It's still finished very, very well at the guard here. That's actually finished very well. I'm really pleased with that. And at the other end as well, you can see there's a slight separation here, but I've been using this for a while, and it's not lifting away from the wood at all. So I've been using this since 2 days of the blade, almost 2 weeks now, and swinging it whenever the weather has allowed, and lots of students had to go, and there's been no lift in the leather. So although, as Marco did point out, there was a little bit of getting the issue getting the leather to stick down, and it didn't match exactly, it's still very secure, and I'm very, very happy with that. And like I say, you see this sort of thing in museums, so I don't have too much of an issue. So the big thing I do notice, like I say, is this lug having a slight discrepancy in it. Doesn't affect the handling at all. Now, as far as handling is concerned, my only previous experience really with the montante in having one of my own to use was Marco's prototype, which was lighter than this and had a little bit more movement in it. This is a different beast. It feels more solid. Obviously it's bigger. This is 5'10". It's exactly the same height as I am until I start stooping, but it's exactly the same height as I am, definitely. It changes the way that you use it. And I think certainly my feeling initially was, this doesn't feel that I can move this around so much with my wrists. And that's because it's a fucking montante, and I shouldn't be moving it around with my wrists. I should be working according to the tool. This being a little bit heavier, having a little bit of a different feel to the movement of it, has actually been a benefit. So I found that my postures, for example, have become a lot more like the postures in Goliath, and it's made me discipline myself a lot more when using the structure. So all around, I think it's been an excellent, excellent addition. I'm very, very happy of it. The general finishing fit of it, absolutely superb. As always, as I find with Marco stuff, is when you first get it, there'll be a little bit of a loosening sound here. You can feel a little click going on, and you just have to tighten that, and that's kind of as the wood settles in. Usually just give it a tighten a couple of days after you've got it, and that settles down very, very easily. So, am I happy with it? I don't yet know how much this is going to cost me. I am very, very happy with it. I am aware of this difference. Still think it's fantastic. Thank you very much, Marco. Cheers.